I want to talk to you today about this passion flower, which I've described in the title as problematic. And I'm going to explain why it's problematic in a few moments. But before I do, let's focus in on one of the flowers. Because to me, it's one of the most spectacular curiosities of the plant world. And I don't think I've seen anything quite like this in nature anywhere. And it fascinates me because my understanding of nature and evolution and natural selection is that it's supposed to be efficient and economical. But I don't see anything efficient or economical in this bloom. It's alien-like. It's almost like it's landed from another planet. What was nature on when it evolved that thing? It has dozens of very fine, spiky petals around the outside which go from blue to white to deep purple. And they focus in on a small green disc, out of which erupts a kind of phallic spike. And on top of that spike, like a kind of merry-go-round, there's a 5-spoked wheel and a 3-spoked wheel. At the end of each of the 5 spokes, there's a weird boat-shaped thing which rocks from side to side as you touch it, and it appears to be covered in yellow pollen. And indeed, as I touch it with my finger, it secretes yellow pollen onto my glove. What's that all about? It's both weird and wonderful all at the same time. Now, let me tell you why it's problematic. Unfortunately, I didn't plant this here. It seems to have self-seeded. At some point in time, a seed must have drifted in on the wind and lodged itself in a tiny crack between the wall and the concrete. And nature, being the powerful force that it is, that seed survived. It germinated and it grew. But sadly, it decided to grow up behind the pipe which supplies oil to the house. And I've noticed each year, as the plant gets bigger, the main trunk gets thicker. And my concern is that there is a risk that that thick trunk might rupture the copper oil pipe. And I can't afford to take that risk because we'd have oil contaminating all this ground. So sadly, a lot of this plant has to go. But happily, there are a couple of branches which come out of that main trunk below the copper oil pipe, and I'm hoping to be able to save them and train them up the trellis. So, I have to hand my loppers and my secateurs. But I've also brought my multi-tool, because with loppers I don't think I'll have the element of control I want around that copper pipe. So I'm going to delicately chisel away at it with this multi-tool. I'm not going to show you all of the process of removing this because it would be too boring. But before I get started, let me tell you why it's called a passion flower. Roman Catholic monks in the 1500s named it so because they thought that parts of this flower were symbolic of the passion, the life and death and sacrifice of Christ. But my interpretation of the name passion flower is that nature must have been in a pretty passionate mood when it designed and evolved that thing. Let's get cutting. I'm actually going to take some cuttings off this and try and multiply the plant, and I'm going to give one of them to my mum so that she can grow it up the side of her garage. It was my mum who told me where the passion flower got its name from. It's coming away quite easily actually. This might not be the long job that I thought it would be, although I expect it to get quite complicated down at the base. I've just found a little snail here. So I'm going to carefully remove him and put him in a cold, damp, dark place so that he survives until tonight, when he'll come out and eat some of my precious plants, no doubt. All is forgiven. I'm going to go and get a polythene bag to put some of these offcuts in so that they stay hydrated, so that they get a good chance of being successful cuttings. Let's take a few cuttings. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put these in this bag so they stay hydrated. I've never taken a cutting from a passion flower before, so I've no idea how successful it's going to be. But it would be nice, having destroyed most of the donor plant, to think that we're going to multiply it. Save that for later. This is where I need to exercise some caution, because I want to save the 2 branches here at the bottom. So at this point I'm going to start following those up and cutting branches from around them. 5 more snails. Don't worry, snails. They're not going to do you any harm. I'm going to move them to a safe place. In parts of the country, they actually eat these. They call them wallfish, because they go and collect them off the walls. I've not been that adventurous just yet. And look, another 4 little wallfish. One of them is already out of its shell, making a bid for freedom. And don't worry, I shall help you with that. These are all part of the ecosystem of the garden. The thrushes love them, and you can often hear the thrushes smashing them on a stone to get to the juicy meat within. These will live to eat my crops another day. Under there they go, quite safely. There's one. I'll put some wire on it in a moment. And there's the other. I shall fan that one out in this direction. And the rest of this is surplus. Let's get it out of the way so that I can see what I've got to deal with down here at the base. That there is the issue. Let's tidy it up a little bit more. So I feel if I went in here with my secateurs, I've not got complete control and I might damage the pipe. I don't want to do that. I will remove that and that and that, and that's why I've brought my little multi-tool. So be prepared for a little bit of noise while I have a go at this trunk just here. That's loose at the base, but it's still entwined around the copper pipe. It's going to help if I gently remove that there, and we might just be able to gently encourage that underneath. That's better. Look, there's still another piece here going through at the back. Out it comes. And I feel a lot better about that. I can sleep at night. The final thing I need to do now is tie the surviving vine back up the trellis. And I will need to keep my eye on the base here, just to make sure that it doesn't make new sprouting branches up behind the pipe again. I also need to get my cuttings potted up so that I can give one to my mum and tidy up. And then it's job done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do hit the like button and share and subscribe to my channel. And also please do comment below, because I love it when people engage with me and I love to chat. So I welcome your comments and I'll see you soon.